the question is, what will happen? That they have some 200 hostages in Gaza. There was some reporting that Hamas had said, we'll release them if Israel stops the bombing. We'll release the civilian hostages if Israel stops the bombing, not the military ones. Israel has to release all Palestinians in any Israeli jail if they want their military guys back. But the civilians can leave if they stop bombing. And I don't know, it's the reports are that our president, our State Department has been working to craft some sort of a deal on the hostages. That appears for right now not to be active, since we're not having any major meeting while we're over there with, the people, the Arabs. So what do you make of diplomatically where we stand now? As I reported at the top, we've got some tens of thousands of IDF soldiers lining up, getting ready to go in.
I think you have to make these diplomatic overtures. So that's just that's something that you would hope. I mean, this is essentially doing what you can before the seemingly inevitable happens, which is the military conflict that's about to unfold here. The chance of them getting some kind of a negotiation that would stop this war from happening, I think, is incredibly slim. It doesn't mean that it is non-existent, and whether you're talking to people in the State Department or anybody who's been involved in these kind of high-level negotiations, you don't lose anything, I think, by having discussions about this, or at least seeing what the possibilities are. All of that said, you have the biggest terror attack since 9/11, and one, when you look at it as a scale of the Israeli people, it was just an absolutely abhorrent and appalling number of civilian casualties that demands a response. How can there be any real talks going forward with Hamas as an entity? How is it acceptable? How is it a sustainable, better way of putting it, future for the Israeli state that it now is going to have right on its doorstep an entity that will just decide at random to kill over 1,000 Israelis, men, women, children, and babies? That's completely unacceptable. It's completely unsustainable. And
they tried that.
Right. I mean, they've shown exactly what happens if you try to they pulled out of Gaza. There was a lot of a lot of talking, a lot of back and forth over that at the time. And they pulled out of Gaza and they let Hamas run Gaza. It obviously has turned it into a hellhole, which is not a surprise. They gave
jobs to Gazans inside Israel, trying to improve their economic fortunes. No, none of it worked. Hamas admitted this week they were all just lying in wait the whole time to surprise Israel with this attack.
The problem here that you deal with is, even if you were to get some kind of negotiation that would result in exchange of hostages, Israel has to go in and destroy, capture. That means capture or kill Hamas leadership. There's no way around that. There's not some alternative where now Hamas can say, all right, let's go. That's why, let's have a ceasefire. I mean, I saw like AOC, for example, talking about how, well, now we need a ceasefire on both sides. A ceasefire? They just engaged in a mass casualty terror attack. None of those individuals have really, I mean, not to our knowledge at least, have been brought to justice. They still have the same infrastructure and weapons at their disposal to conduct future attacks like that.
And they've got our hostages. They've got our hostages and Israel's hostages. She's not focused on them.
In the Middle East, I mean, anybody who studies it and has a real interest in it, they'll tell you the thing that is respected most of all is force. Diplomacy is fine. We can talk. We can do all of that. But at the end of the day, the people that are in a position to have their way because they're the strongest and because there are consequences for crossing them are the ones who are going to be listened to. And I understand right now there's this framing of, why does Israel need vengeance in this moment? It's not about vengeance. It's about justice. And it's about stopping an ongoing threat. If the United States had a terrorist entity that was adjoining its borders, I mean, it was right next door and could come and go effectively with these kinds of attacks as it chose to, and was continuing to fire and could continue to fire rockets, we would go in there and we would do what is necessary for our security. because we would not think it an acceptable state of affairs to live in constant fear and with the constant possibility that we could be murdered in our beds by some terrorist hit squad, right? So that's the same mentality that the Israeli people have every right to operate with now. I mean, they really have a duty. I mean, the IDF and the Israeli government has a duty to prevent this kind of thing from happening again. And there is no agreement that you can ever strike with people who would do what Hamas just did that you could count on. I mean, there's no such thing as like a handshake or a treaty with people who would do what Hamas just did.
There is no honor. The Genucel Dark Spot Corrector sale ends promptly this Sunday. And guess what ends with it? That crazy 70% discount. That's right, all gone Sunday night. Go to Genucel.com/MK60 right now. Don't delay one more minute. Here's Marsha from Austin, Texas, writing, my puffy eyes were gone after 24 hours and 2 treatments. Dark spots fading and definitely less laugh lines. A win all around. Take advantage of the Genucel most popular package, which now includes the Dark Spot Corrector, plus the classic Genucel bags and puffiness treatment and immediate effects product, all for 70% off. Try the best skincare in the world for yourself, completely risk-free. Go to Genucel.com/MK60 today and start looking years, even decades younger tomorrow. All orders upgraded to free shipping. See results day one and get compliments everywhere you go. Guaranteed. That's GENUCEL.com/MK60, Genucel.com/MK60. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.